Tottenham just beat the already relegated bottom side, and somehow that's supposed to be good news. But here's the brutal truth. They only won because Wolves gifted them the game by abandoning the one tactical approach that was actually working. With Dominic, Solanke and Xavi Simons both picking up injuries and weaker teams coming to their ground, knowing exactly how to sit deep against a side that still can't break a mass defence, Spurs might not win another home game this season. Hello everyone. Now, if Tottenham Hotspur get relegated, I think it would be even more shocking than Arsenal winning the Premier League title, so right now you really need to pay more attention to Tottenham Hotspur's matches. To put it bluntly, there's a chance this is one of those games where you watch one and there's one fewer left. Meaning, if you think about it, you might not be able to watch them next season. It's only when you say it out loud that you realise. So it ended up staying 0-0 until the very end, and they scraped a 0-1 win right at the death. A nerve-wracking one too, because Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club had a free kick, and Tottenham's substitute goalkeeper threw himself at it and saved the best effort from João Gomes, a beautiful free kick. That substitute goalkeeper, Antonin Kinski, you should all still remember him. In the Champions League, he kept giving gifts to Atletico Madrid, which led to their elimination. But coming back into action here, he was actually quite steady. Looking back on it, that was the right call. Because if it hadn't been for him for what he did in the Champions League, if Tottenham Hotspur had fumbled their way through to the Champions League knockouts, the impact on their Premier League form might have been even greater, and they might not have won even this match, or worse, lost it and had even less energy. In that case, they really would have been even closer to relegation. Right, first of all, they did win by 1 goal. Now, Tottenham Hotspur looked like they had a bit of fire near the end and were really fighting for it. Of course, you have to fight for it. But I have to ask, why did they look like they had no fire in the first half, only showing it in the second half? Actually, it's entirely because Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club played completely differently in the first and second halves. In the first half, Wolves actually used the right tactics. Before, when Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club played at this ground against Manchester United as the home side, Wolves would give gifts both in attack and in defence. And I'm talking about when relegation wasn't yet confirmed. Defensively, they would randomly press high and concede on fast breaks. And in attack, they would randomly hand you a gift to hit them on the counter-attack. But today, in the first half, none of that. Fewer gifts, less defensive pressure, sitting deep constantly. Tottenham Hotspur faced an enormous problem in the first half, and it's something they haven't trained for all season, dealing with a mass defence. Against a packed defence, they just kept doing the same thing. Play fast, only knowing how to play fast, or just pumping high balls. When you're forced to face a compact defence and you have no idea how to, and you need to speed up your attacking play to complete your moves, if the opponent is sitting deep, you're just going to keep running into a wall and losing the ball. And on top of that, ever since Mohamed Kudus got injured, Tottenham Hotspur have had very little to work with in terms of playing their championship-winning formula. So in this match, they were playing a runners-up system, which of course made things even more painfully slow going. That's why Tottenham Hotspur looked like they had no fire in the first half, because there was nowhere for the fire to come out, no way to let it out, no route to let it out. But in the second half, Wolves suddenly switched entirely to an attacking style. Completely two different teams. Flipping it around, Tottenham Hotspur in the second half could keep hitting on the counter-attack, and that fire finally had somewhere to go. They knew how to let it out, knew what to do. So naturally, on the counter-attack, it really came down to Xavi Simons. It's possible he's seriously injured too. But for the entire first half of the season, Tottenham Hotspur only knew how to play on the fast break, so Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club's second half tactical switch inadvertently saved Tottenham Hotspur. But Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club's completely wrong tactical decisions in the second half ultimately gave Tottenham Hotspur the chance to take back 3 points. And there was genuinely a bit of luck involved, because at this particular moment you happened to run into Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club are already relegated and don't need to worry about the result anymore. The moment they started thinking about putting on a show for their home fans, emotion took over. So in the first half, they played sit deep, which was actually the right tactic. But in the second half, they wanted to give the fans something to enjoy, because when fans leave the ground having watched their team going forward and fighting, they leave in a better mood. That's just the way it always is. If the ending of the film is good, it makes up for a poor opening. So even if the first half was tactically correct but not entertaining, you just had to make the second half entertaining. The moment you go on the attack, you give away 2 chances and they take 3 points. So those 3 points came entirely from Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club choosing to play an open, entertaining game to please their home fans. So, what does this mean for the future? Today was obviously full of bad news for Tottenham Hotspur. Injuries? No luck. But at this particular moment, running into Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club gave them a little luck on the result. Though when you're talking about that kind of luck, you're really talking about favourable timing and favourable conditions. It all depends on which opponent you happen to face. Now, we should also pay attention to Tottenham Hotspur today. There was a little more ground-based build-up play which was completely absent in the first half of the season. And on the counter-attack today, the organisation wasn't just relying on long balls. It was more varied, with Xavi Simons' one-on-one breakaway that hit the side netting being built up from the ground with quick combinations from the start. Roberto De Zerbi has added a few more details to Tottenham Hotspur, and there has been a small improvement. But can this improvement actually help Tottenham Hotspur survive and avoid relegation? Think about it further. Yes, you've improved, but your 2 most reliable players are injured. And the home fixtures? Don't assume they're easier. In fact, they could actually be harder, because at home, if the opposition is relatively weak, they'll sit deep. Why did the Wolves not sit deep when you were away at them? Because they had to entertain their home fans. But when those weaker teams come to your ground, they don't need to entertain home fans. So when a weaker team comes to Tottenham Hotspur's home ground, they can sit deep. And on top of that, Tottenham Hotspur don't know how to break that down. And Tottenham Hotspur are still behind on points, still 2 points short. So even though you can see Tottenham Hotspur improving right now, 2 key players are injured, and at home against weaker sides who sit deep, there's a real chance they still can't win. Tottenham Hotspur's situation remains anything but optimistic. I still feel their chances of relegation are higher than West Ham United FC's. They may not be able to claw it back. Winning this one game against the 20th placed side truly required the opponents to get their tactics completely wrong, and even then, they needed a goal spotted to them first. The rest of their fixtures look extremely bleak. If you found this breakdown useful and you enjoy this kind of in-depth analysis, a like and a subscribe goes a long way in keeping this channel going and motivating me to keep producing more. Drop a comment below too. I read every single one. See you in the next one.